And this is my Selesnya Aggro Magic the Gathering deck. Now, I just finished this today. My last Voice of Resurgence to complete my playset came in the mail, so it's pretty sweet. I'm going to get to take it to FNM Magic tomorrow, and I thought I would review it for you guys before I take it there. So, pretty straightforward deck. It's basically bash your opponent's face in as fast as you can, and that's about it. No defensive tactics really, but I'm just gonna quickly showcase this here. So for Planeswalkers, we are only running three Johnny Callers of the Pride. I'm gonna get that focused. There you guys see it. Abilities, the +1 and the ultimate don't really help this deck at all. What we're really just going for is the -3, the flying and double strike really helps us use those good value cards, those low mana costing cards that have high power, and we can just smash our opponents with those. Celestial Charm is probably one of the best charms out there in the Ravnica block. The put a 2/2 White Knight isn't really relevant unless you want to buff the Voice of Resurgence token, but the +2 with Trample, also, doubling that with the Johnny, but also exiling somebody with power 5 or more is fantastic against Jund monsters, Gruul monsters, takes out Obsidat, stuff like that. So moving on, we have Advent of the Worm, fantastic card. 4 mana for a 5/5 with Trample, basically. You can do it after a board wipe, you can also do it in your opponent's turn, surprise blockers, that kind of thing. Experiment 1 is the backbone of this deck. I would really recommend only getting a hand that has at least one of these in it, because it's a fantastic card. The fact it can evolve every turn, if you know how to play your land base right, as well as your creature base, which is the point of this. And also the fact that you can regenerate it makes it really sweet. We have Soldier of the Pantheon, another fantastic 1-drop for this deck. It's pro D-Sphere, pro Azorius Charm. It can block Obsidat without taking any damage, stuff like that. Since Esper is really the biggest thing right now, this is mainly a deck that tries to combat Esper as well as Mono Black and Gruul, which is really nice. So you can always get some good value from that card as well as it being a 1-drop that can also evolve Experiment 1. Then we have 2 Scavenging Oozes. Oh, sorry, I should probably review these. 3 Ajani's, 4 Selesnya Charms, 4 Advents, 4 Experiment 1s, 4 Soldier of the Pantheons. Then we only have 2 Scavenging Oozes. It's not really that big a deal of a card. Nice 2 for 2 mana that can eventually get a little bit bigger. So that's about all we're going to be using this card for. And moving on, we have 4 Fleecebane Lions. So yeah, that's what we're going to do with these guys. And this card is super sweet, only because not only is 2 mana for 3/3 fantastic in the value aspect of the card, which is the point of this deck, it can monstrosify for 1, and it gives it hexproof and indestructible. So after that, in standard, I don't think there's any way to possibly get rid of this rather than Cyclonic Rift Overload. That's about the only way I can think of that you could possibly get rid of this, or sacrificing. Anyway, moving on. Voice of Resurgence. I don't really think I need to explain why I'm running 4 of these. It's possibly one of the best cards in this deck. You guys can take a moment to read the massive paragraph of text. It's pro control, basically pro anything that likes messing around with stuff during your turn. Pro aggro. People aren't really going to want to attack you, and then they're not going to want to block this thing either. So free swings with this. It's just such a great card. I can't recommend it more. Pretty expensive nonetheless. It took me quite a bit of working and whatnot to finally get a playset, because I had to buy them all, because no one trades these things, but it was definitely worth it. It will probably pay off a lot. Moving on, we have 4 Boon Satyrs. Fantastic. 3 mana for a 4/2 with Flash is already great. Bestow makes it even better. Anything with Flash in this deck is great, because I'm expecting board wipes to come out pretty fast, due to the fact that we're going to be getting like a whole army out by the time they have enough to cast a Supreme Verdict. So I'm expecting to see Supreme Verdict a lot when I take this to FNM, my local card shop. So the fact that you could drop this thing in after a board wipe, it's great. You can also flash it when you're attacking. You're going to have so many guys open, you can just flash it on the one little guy that's getting through. 3 Banisher Priests. Now I decided to main board these as well, instead of some of the other cards in my sideboard that people might be confused about why I'm mainboarding these. The reason why I'm mainboarding these is because I'm expecting a lot of creatures. That's the best way to put this. Unflinching Courage was the other option for me to mainboard, and honestly, it's just asking to get 2-for-1 or bounced if I put on a creature, so I might as well keep this thing in mainboard just because I'm expecting some big heavy-duty creatures, so we're running 3 of those. Then we have a playset of Loxodon. Loxodon is possibly one of my favorite cards in this deck. It's so great. A 3-drop for 4/4 is already fantastic. Can't be countered. Makes it even better, but the fact that it's pro discard. I mean, I play against my friend Guzman Gaming, who loves using a modern Rakdos deck, and so it's so much fun. I didn't really get to try it much against him, but the times I did, he would just make me discard, and I would just drop these Loxodons on the battlefield for free. So no problem running those because hand disruption decks are still lurking around in standard. Not to mention can't be countered, and the power level of it's pretty nice. And onto the land base, we are running 8 forests, we are running 6 plains, 4 temple gardens, and 4 temples of plenty. So that is your main board. Let's just review that one more time. 3 Johnny Caller of the Prides, 4 Selesnya Charms, 4 Advents of the Worm, 4 Experiment 1s, 4 Soldier of the Pantheons, let me focus, 2 Scavenging Oozes, 4 Fleecebane Lions, 4 Voices of Resurgences, 4 Boon Satyrs, 3 Banisher Priests, 4 Loxodon Smiters, 8 Forests, 6 Plains, 4 Temple Gardens, 4 Temples of Plenty. Now, onto the sideboard. Over here we have 3 Glare of Heresies. I'm not sure if it's going to let me focus. There we go. 3 Glare of Heresies. Really fantastic card right now in the meta. As Esper and Zorius. I mean, I keep bringing this up, but this is all I see when I go to FNM over at my local card shop, and I'm not sure what it is like, but all I see is Boros, Gruul, Esper, and Mono Black or Zorius. That's all I see, so there's nothing wrong with this card. You can get rid of a lot of Orsa mid-range, you know, kind of fatties that are usually game enders. Sadly, this cannot hit Blood Baron of Vizkopa, but the point of my deck is probably to kill before they can get that card to do any lethal damage. And takes out Detention Sphere, takes out a lot of fantastic white cards, takes out Elspeth as well for token decks or control decks. We have 2 Spirits of the Labyrinth. Now, I was thinking of either running these or 2 Witch Stalkers, but honestly, this card is much more effective in what it does. For those of you who don't know, Witch Stalker is a 3-drop, 1 generic, 2 green. That is the 3/3 with hexproof. Whenever an opponent casts a blue or black spell during your turn, you put a 1/1 counter on it. This card, in my opinion, is way better, considering it's a 3-drop for a 3/1. Now, I don't care anything about the toughness since this is an aggro deck, so 2 mana for a 3 power is fantastic, as well as it can also do some good evolving on Experiment 1. And the fact that it completely shuts down Sphinx's Revelation, as well as a lot of other card drawing options. Fantastic. They can only use Underworld Connections on your turn. They can only use the Zorius Charm on their turn. It's really good. And then with Voice of Resurgence, it's like, well, do you actually want to use that stuff now? So, it's really good. I really like it. I think it's way better over Witch Stalker, but you guys can tell me in the comments if you guys think that Witch Stalker should go somewhere in the sideboard, because I was kind of thinking of it. And, going on, we have 2 Rootborn Defenses. Don't really need to say anything there. Board wipes. If you really just want to protect that one creature, you know, not much else to say here. We have 2 Celestial Flares. Good against Orzhov or Esper, controller mid-range, since they're only going to be really swinging in with one guy. This is really targeting Jund and Gruul, because usually the only guys they'll have out when they're playing the game is just their mana dorks, and they'll usually use all their mana and all their mana dorks into one, like Stormbreath or Pelucranos, and they'll just swing in with that. So it's really good because it's almost like a 2-drop, removal, and it's really an awesome card. I really like it, and there's really no downside to playing it. Also really good in an aggro base when you're gonna start swinging in with a lot of guys, and they might try chump blocking or something like that. So then we go on to Last Breath. Kind of confusing why I'm running this card, but I'll explain why. Pro aggro, pro mana ramp. You can take out mana dorks really easily. It's pro a lot of decks out there that are in the meta. Takes out Sylvan Carrot. Oh no, actually doesn't take out Sylvan Carrot. It does take out Elvish Mystics, as well as a lot of other 2-drops or for 2 power. Can take out Banisher Priest, can take out Voice of Resurgence, that kind of thing. Can take out a lot of control, small creatures that just have a certain ability, one-trick ponies as they call them. And I think it's a pretty solid sideboard card. And then we have 2 Mistcutter Hydras. Can't really find any fault in running this card, honestly. I mean, it's an X green, can't be countered, haste protection from blue. It's fantastic. I mean, pro blue and all. I mean, there's nothing wrong with running this card. So, highly recommend it. Then we have, last, we have 2 Unflinching Courages. Pro aggro, that's about all you're going to get out of this. +2/+2 and get Trample and Lifelink. So, that's pretty nice if opponent's using aggro as well, and you really need to stay on top of the life total. And so there you guys go. That is my Selesnya aggro. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I will let you guys know how it did at FNM tomorrow, and feel free to leave a like and a comment telling me if you guys think there's any improvements that this deck could use.